In this video, we're going to be talking about Airbnb house hacking and why it's such a powerful strategy, so stay tuned. Vacation Rental Machine helps hosts just like you learn how to start, grow, and scale your short-term rental business. This show is all about creating systems that help you automate your business, giving you more time and money freedom. If you're ready to start living the vacation rental life, then subscribe to this podcast today. Come and join us on our Facebook group, The Host Nation, where we'll be talking about starting, automating, and scaling a short-term rental business. Now, on to the show. Hey, welcome back, Host Nation, to another episode of Vacation Rental Machine. I'm Julian Sage with John Bell, and in this video, we're going to be talking about a strategy on how you can avoid capital gains taxes as well as basically living for free. So, John, for the people that don't know what capital gains is, can you explain what this is and why this is such an important thing to consider when purchasing or selling a property?
Yes. So in its simplest form, it means you buy something low and you sell it high, and it's the capital that you gain in between as far as profits on an asset or investment. It could be a stock or a home. Capital gains applies to that. It's really hit hard if you do that within the first year.
So how much could a person be expecting to pay for capital gains?
All right. Let's run this scenario. I'm going to share my screen, and I preloaded a calculator with a realistic scenario, definitely specific to a lot of areas, not necessarily everywhere, but let's run with it for a minute. Let's say we purchased this property for $210,000 and we did some renovations, and somehow we were able to sell it for $300,000, all within 1 year of ownership. Now, with the appropriate state taxes applied and your filing income and status, that would have you paying $28,000, almost $29,000 in capital gains taxes from the profits that you just realized within less than a year.
So you're purchasing a property, you're putting some work into it, and that $90,000 that you thought that you might be collecting, you still have to pay nearly a third of that to the government, and that's going to be your capital gains. Now, what's a way that we can avoid having to pay for those capital gains?
Well, one of the very first ways and easiest ways to reduce that number is to keep the property for longer than a year. So if you were to do that, that does cut down your capital gains down to $21,000. And yes, it is a good jump down, but it's still not great. We still don't want to have to pay this to anybody after we realize these profits.
Right. So the next strategy that you can use if you are purchasing a property, you're putting some work into it, you're trying to, gain some value from it. And this is through house hacking. So house hacking is the process of purchasing a property, but then using it as your primary residence. Because when you use a house as a primary residence, you do get some really nice tax benefits that you can use to cut your capital gains tax. So if you're residing in the property, so if this is your primary residence, you're able to avoid having to pay for the capital gains tax from $250,000 if you're single, or up to $500,000 if you are married. Now, you can only do this once every 2 years, but the way that you can really stretch this out and make this really, really profitable, let's say there's a property that you find and maybe it needs a little bit of work. You know that you can just go in there, do some renovations to it, and you know that this place is going to appreciate in value. So what you do is you purchase this property, but you are trying to find strategic properties that maybe you can convert. So one way is having like an exterior dwelling unit. So I know in Arizona, there's a lot of places that I've seen that they have like little like sheds or little homes in the back where a lot of people have convert those into properties. The reason being is one, because if you're living in the property and you have another unit in the back, you can rent out that property and actually make some profit. Now, it's good to have a tenant that's paying you monthly to be able to stay in that property or like a basement unit, but you're not going to be making that much. Unless you're living in New York, you're not going to be making that much from a person that's just staying long term. But a really powerful strategy that you can do is start implementing short-term rentals, so listing it on Airbnb. Now, in the last video, we were actually doing market research and identifying how to be able to find a property that would be profitable. Now, you can do the same process just in reverse. So let's say you're looking for a property that you want to move into, and you're looking specifically for properties that maybe have an exterior dwelling unit, or that you can cut off the basement, have it detached, have some type of separation. Now, you're looking for properties with a certain type of criteria. So what you'd be doing is you'd be going into AirDNA, Airbnb, and you'd be looking for maybe 1 or 2 bedrooms. You're trying to identify how much are you going to be able to make from a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment or unit. Once you've identified those apartment units and how much they're able to take in, now you're trying to find on Zillow or wherever you're trying to find an apartment and looking specifically for units where you can have some type of unit that can be detached. At this point, you can now look at how much the mortgage is going to be versus how much you're actually able to make from Airbnb. Within a 2-year time period, you may have been able to actually cover your mortgage payments. So now you're living for free. And then when you decide to sell the unit, you're actually able to also avoid that capital gains tax. So all the money that you gain from doing the renovations and appreciation is going to be all in your pocket. Now, this is a lot more powerful if you're married. If you're single, then you just have to account that that's only good up to 250,000.
You're right, Julian. When you actually own a property and you have something else that you can rent that either covers your mortgage or can provide you more income just in general, that is a good hack to live for free. And it's something that I know that you do. If you want to explain your home and how you separated your basement and have pulled in that extra income just to make things a lot easier while living in a place that actually does have a higher cost of living than most places.
Right, John. So when I was looking for a property, I was looking specifically for something that I'd be able to separate the basement or the outside unit and be able to start short-term renting it. Because for me, being in the military, we were not making a whole lot of money. So being able to cut the cost by having a separate unit really did help me a lot. And for a while, it was able to cover the total cost of my mortgage. But the one thing that I really did take away from being able to do this with my property was that it gave me the skill set to be able to go out and actually start managing other people's properties as well. So there's a lot of benefits to short-term renting, from avoiding capital gains, from being able to live mortgage free, and you're also learning a skill set that you can use when you are managing other people's properties, or if you wanted to acquire new properties, now you know what you need to do to be able to generate that really significant income.
All right, host. Today's question of the day: are you actively house hacking or looking to jump into it? Leave your comments below.
And if you're looking for specific market research, drop a comment down below. Let us know which areas are you interested in short-term renting, and maybe we can actually go into those markets and start analyzing those together. And until next time, Host Nation, keep on hosting. If you'd like John and I to answer your guys' questions, then be sure to go to the Host Nation Facebook group and use hashtag AskVRM. Hope you hosts found value in this episode. If you did, please go on over to iTunes and leave us a review, as that would greatly support the show. If you'd like to connect with John, the community, and I, then go on over to our Facebook group, The Host Nation. Talk to you hosts in the next episode. Keep on hosting.